Good morning, everyone. Now, we are on our next topic, which is developing instructional materials. We cannot deny the fact that in any subject that we are going to teach to our young learners or to our learners, we always need something in order to aid the learning of our learners. And one of those is developing instructional materials. The importance of instructional materials cannot be overstated. It's because, as says, these instructional materials, these are critical resources for successful teaching and for successful learning. This will not just help our learners, but of course, it will also help us in teaching successfully to our learners. It increases also teaching effectiveness, it enhances student learning, and of course, since it is instructional materials, it offers sensory opportunities. Kasi yung mga learners natin, may makikita sila, for example na lamang visual aid, or let's say model, an illustration. They could see it in their eyes, and so with that one, it will actually help them to absorb the learning more. And the next one is that it promotes learning and it aid abstract concept learning. It's because we can't deny that there are topics, or let's say there are contents that are hard to grasp without the use of instructional materials. And so, it will aid those abstract concepts in learning. So we have here the techniques to use technology in physical education. It's because we are now here in a fast changing world where technology is, very rampant, is used widely. Kahit saan makikita mo yung technology. So how can we use that one? How can we use technology in order to successfully teach PE or physical education to our learners, especially to elementary young learners? So the first one is that we can use speedometers. So this is one of the basic or common technology that we can use to monitor our physical activity. The next one is utilizing heart rate monitors. So this one will help, or this assesses heartbeat as we engage to physical activity. And so with the gathered information here, in number 3, health tracking information, with the informations gathered in using pedometers, in using heart rate monitors, we can actually track, or we can track the progress of our physical activity when we are exercising. In simple, or in simply doing household chores, we are actually doing physical activity, and we can actually track the progress of our exercise, for example, if we have that one. And the next one is maximizing applications. So without application, it's very, let's say, it's not that possible to na makuha natin yung gusto natin. So there are so many tools that we can use na para ma-maximize talaga natin yung application ng technology for our own benefit, for our own. So next one is we can also use video resources. So for example, you are doing Zumba, you can actually watch videos coming from YouTube, 'di ba? You can watch mga sample videos na makikita natin sa YouTube, and you can actually follow that one. And it will not just help your physical activity or physical exercise improve, but it will also give you fun, right? And we can also include games as a strategy, di ba? Without you knowing, you're actually doing exercise and you're actually, um, what's that, promoting health, fitness, ganyan. So you're actually nagiging okay yung physical health mo without you knowing, just because of the use of game as a strategy. So in formulating assessments, we have number 1, informal or continuous assessments. This one is considered as fast and easy. It is because this can be done continuously throughout the lesson. For example, you will while the lesson is ongoing, you can ask questions. And in asking questions, you can prepare checklist in which, while you are presenting the topic, you are using checklist if what do you call this one? Natapos na ba ito? Na achieve na ba ito? Ganyan. So, in that very simple way, you can track the progress of your teaching and as well as of the learning of your students. The next one is pre and post assessments. This one, of course, the pre-assessment, this one is done before the lesson or unit. And the post one, of course, this is done after a lesson or a unit. So what is the importance of this one? Of course, before you start the lesson, you can have this pre-assessment in which this will give you an idea in which area your students are weak and in which area na strength nila. In that way, alam mo, you know, saan ka papasok. Okay? So, alam mo kung saan yung mga areas na dapat i-strengthen and saan yung mga areas na dapat i-improve pa. So, yeah, it allows the teachers to check and compare the improvements with regards to pupils' academic and skills performance. There are so many ways in which we can actually have this one, pre-assessment and post-assessment. And one of those is the KWL chart, yung what you know, what do you want to know, and what you have learned. So this is one of the most common techniques or strategies that we can use in this assessment. The next one is formative assessment. This is done to periodically assess student learning. For example, yung quizzes. After a lesson, you will have your short quiz, ganyan, or you can have peer assessment, mga impromptu quizzes, in order for you to know if may na-learn ba yung student mo sa topic na yan before you proceed to the next one. Okay? And the next one, the last one, is summative assessment. Okay? This is graded na. This is done at the end of the unit. Okay, by the way, formative assessment, it could be graded or it could be not. Okay? As well as sa pre-assessment, of course, it's not graded. And then sa post-assessment and sa informal or continuous assessment naman, it could be na it's part of the participation of your students, di ba? So in summative assessment, this one is done at the end of the unit. After the unit, you will have summative assessment. This one is graded again. This one help the teacher assess whether the pupils attend the learning objectives set. Okay? So, dito mo malalaman kung na-achieve ba yung learning objective mo, yung learning objective ng class. So, for example, you can have chapter test, a midterm examination, prelim examination, final examination, ganyan. So, it's done after mga summative test, chapter test, unit, yun lang. And, here are the assessment for physical education and health. The first one is alternative. So, alternative assessment, it is called untraditional because the teacher is not used to use yung mga, for example, matching types, ganyan, mga true or false. So, yung assessment in alternative assessment, the teacher does not use yung mga matching type, ganon, mga true or false na mga type of assessment. That's why it is called untraditional. It is not traditional. So, here, it requires pupils to create a project, and it is graded by a rubric. So it includes drawing an illustration, creating a craft, and making a video. So the learner is not merely answering ganyan, learning mga concept, but the learner applies that concept in making such. Okay? The next one is authentic assessment. When we say authentic assessment, the word there is always real world application. Okay? It is administered in a real world context. For me, this is one of the most important assessments that we teachers or educators should, apply. It's because we should not just teach our students how to answer this one, how to solve this one, but somehow help them to have that skill on how are they going to solve such real world problem, 'di ba? In application sa mga na-learn nila sa school. And this is based on situations where people experience in daily life. Example, instead of learning a skill just by the concept of a game, the people should observe and understand it, 'di ba? Not just the concept, not just knowing the concept, not just learning the concept, but actually understanding the concept. The next one is performance-based assessments. Of course, from the word performance, pupils are expected to create. They're expected to perform and to produce something. So, for example, performing an activity in dance and gymnastics, creating a product, task, or artwork, designing a portfolio task, for example, infographics, brochures, and composing poems and essays. Anything na kailangan ng product. So, performance-based assessment. There are instructional models for physical education and health. So the first one, what's instructional model? Instructional model, this is a set of guidelines or strategies wherein approaches in teaching are being anchored. So ano yung mga strategies, ano yung mga guidelines natin. These are guidelines or strategies kung ano yung mga approaches, yung mga approaches na na-learn natin in teaching. It's anchored here in instructional model. So of course, it must be based on learning theories that describe how people learn new ideas and concepts. May mga theories man, and so we apply those theories, yung mga concept ng theories na yun sa instruction in making instructional or in instructional model. It's not making instructional model, but it's instructional model. And it provides guidelines to organize appropriate pedagogical scenarios to achieve instructional goals. So, instructional models is like a guide for us in teaching, for us to achieve our goals. So, the first type of instructional model is ADDIE model. Okay, so in ADDIE model, A stands for analyze. Of course, basically this is the first phase. Here, the teachers or the instructional designer must assess, must identify, and establish a clear understanding of the pupil's current knowledge. Here, kailangan na yung teacher alam niya kung sino yung mga student niya. In this phase, the teacher should have the knowledge about his or her students. And this one is considered as the most essential phase. In knowing your learners, you know where or you know the target gaps, di ba? In knowing the learners, here, it will help you to know the target gaps. The next one is design. In design, the instructional designer decides what format to use in planning instruction. So, alam mo na kung sino yung mga learner mo. You will now decide kung anong format ang gagamitin mo in planning your instruction, in teaching. So here, you will plan this is where the learning objectives, the content, the subject matter, the strategy for delivery, the assessment method, and the instructional materials to be used are formulated to reach success. Dito mo na pinaplano kasi alam mo na kung sino yung learners mo. You will now have your objectives. You will now have the content, the subject matter, the strategies that you are going to use, the assessment that you are going to use, in which it should always be appropriate to the learner's need, of course. The next one is development. This is where all the preparation, the brainstorming, and planning occur. After designing, you will now develop. So the methodology for the learning process is being developed and tested. 'Di ba? Yung mga process. Yung mga process na yon in the designing phase is now being developed and is now being tested. Use all the ideas gathered from the previous phases to create a set of learning experience, and it focuses on generating and evaluating learning outcomes. So dito na nangyayari yung for example, you are preparing your delivery, kung paano mo ituturo yung na-plan mo in designing phase, ganyan. It could be practicing. Yeah. And the next one, the I, is implementation. So here is the actual implementation. The teacher presents and teaches the course materials to the pupils, which are the results of the first three phases. So here you will be looking whether the method is working or not. Implementation. The next one is evaluate. So this is the last one. ADDIE. Yeah, this is the last one. So this is the final phase wherein all the information gathered is put together, and it is not just put together but it is analyzed. It helps the teacher to determine if the set objectives are successfully achieved or what intervention should be done to make successful teaching and learning process. So teachers can use formative and summative evaluation. So I think it's useless for us to teach without evaluating, no? So it's I think teaching is vain without evaluation. Yeah, because here you will know saan na area yung kailangan pa talaga na i-teach balik. But I hope na it won't happen, no? So evaluation is really very important. The next one is Gagne's 9 events of instruction. So in this one, Gagne's 9 events of instruction, this is, we can use this one in creating a lesson plan. So the process or the step-by-step process in creating a lesson plan, we can or in delivering the lesson, we can use this one. In delivering the lesson, the course in instruction. So the first one is gain the attention of pupils. I think this is the motivation. This is more anchored to motivation. Next one is inform the pupils of the objectives, of course. Stimulate recall of prior learning. Here you will have review. So after ng review, mag-present ka na ng content, and after presentation of the content, may mga activities na gagawin na para may mga activities na gagawin to provide learning guidance. So that's the purpose of having activities sa instruction. The next one is elicit performance. So here, as educators, especially to young learners, it's very important for us to elicit performance, to engage our students to activities, to let them na mag-engage talaga in order to elicit performance. And this next one is provide feedbacks. So, constructive feedbacks. Assess performance, of course, using a rubric, and enhance retention. So, enhancing retention is very important because this one is the first step leading to application, not just application inside the school, but application outside, of course. So that's it. And that's my part. I hope you've learned something. So thank you and God bless everyone.